That's exactly right. Colors and trends are always changing. Each year it seems like there's a new fun color or a fad. Is it wallpaper? Is it a color? Is it some sort of an accent wall? This morning we have the pleasure to talk to Vicki here at Johnston Paint, and I want to welcome you to Breakfast with Bev this morning. Vicki has always been, in my mind, one of the experts in our community as far as what's fashionable, what's trendy, what people want. And so I kind of want her to share with you kind of the color of the year and what are some of the fun happening trends that people can do in either a new construction build job or perhaps maybe just renovating their own home.
Well, good morning, Bev. It's always a pleasure to talk to Bev. She's a lot of fun. She loves color, which I love color. So we have a lot in common.
Do you love color?
Yeah, and right now, I think last summer we spoke a lot about color as well and how I kind of said trends were really dramatically changing. We're kind of going from that gray thing, and right now we're in the all white. If you've noticed, a lot of the homes you walk into, if you're buying a home through Bev or one of the other great realtors in town, there's a lot of light colors going on. White on subtle, kind of a ghost gray color. It's not really silver, more of an opal or champagne-y kind of a gray. Very popular. Minimalist is ruling right now. But because we're in this all white thing, people are needing color again. So what you're gonna see, and I have been seeing, is pictured on the front of this magazine happens to be a painted piece of furniture or cabinets doing a lot of electric blues, a lot of greens, emerald green, peacock green. There's just all kinds of color going on with cabinets right now. I don't know that we're doing that as much in the spec home market. Do you see a lot of color cabinets?
All white.
Still all
seems
white?
like white, or maybe there's a focal point with the island of a navy or a sort of a lighter gray or a charcoal gray. But beyond that, it's pretty much
And
white.
countertops are white, maybe Carrera looking with a little gray swirl in them.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to match whites on whites on whites. And I've known that for years. And if you're picky about it, it's really hard. So that's what people are finding. They're getting kind of in a corner, and now they need to go with a little bit more color excitement to get them out of that white on white match. Our old furniture doesn't look great with white on white because it starts looking dated and old, so we have to buy new furniture. So that's what precipitates color and wallpaper. Huge surge in wallpaper right now, getting all kinds of new books, all kinds of really great patterns, which I think we've already shown you some of. I do a lot of bathroom work. Maybe it's just a focal wall. Maybe it's wallpaper, maybe it's tile, but we are doing a huge amount of focal wall work. Master bedrooms, big deal behind the headboards. Headboards are in a state of flux right now. Nobody knows what to do as a headboard because we're not really in upholstered headboards, but we're not in wood headboards. So I really don't know where we are with headboards. I don't know if it's more of a built-in look people are wanting with kind of a furniture, kind of a hotel looking look. I think you're going to find, along with this big color push and wallpaper push, what I am going to say is going to happen within the next 12 to 18 months is you're going to start seeing a lot more wood. Strangely enough, right?
Really? So like what color tone of wood are you talking?
All colors. It's going to be all about the grain. It's how the wood looks. Natural, stained. I don't think it'll be necessarily dark unless it's a nice rich walnut or mahogany. What you're going to see is the figuring in wood. I know you probably have seen a lot with the minimalist bathrooms. Maybe not in Boone County, but in the outward markets we're seeing a lot of floating vanities, grain being the length, very simplistic drawer or door system on the vanity, lights underneath, lights up. It's all about that focal in the bathroom because they went to light tile in the showers and all glass. Well, with marble looks, there's not as many decorative things you can do, so you have to kind of depend on either an off-white or a soft color on the walls to accentuate that because you're not putting that line of strip of tile through there to decorate it. So people are kind of getting starved for color a little bit. So that's the reason why this color push is so big.
What about style? It seems like we have been on this farmhouse style now for so long. It's like, are you seeing that where it's going to kind of trend its way back out and kind of get to more modern? You know, we went through that contemporary style, you know, about 10 years ago, and then that kind of ran its course. I mean, what do you think about style?
We're kind of out of the farmhouse look a little bit. You're not seeing as many slat walls going on. We're getting a little dressier.
Yeah.
Because that simplicity is kind of contemporary. So lucite or the plastic chairs with a contemporary shape, a little splurge of color. Even greenery is coming back. You see a lot of succulents. It's come up with just the succulent look outside. Now they're bringing it inside. You're going to start seeing more statues, more greenery. Just textural things is really kind of where we are. And it's because of this sterile white market we're in. We have to have a little color, looking for texture. Maybe not color, but texture. And that just kind of all builds until you finally have color on your walls again. And for people that are color starved, it is on its way back. Thank goodness. But it'll be a while. This year's color of the year, Bev was asking me, Benjamin Moore has the color of the year, and it's a G and teal. I sell all levels of this color, darker, lighter. I mean, it's kind of all over the place. A lot of people come in asking for this color. We tend to bridge it to other colors. We don't want everyone to have just a G and teal, so we're trying to get them to explore that market a little bit more. Pink, peachy pinks, subtle brass looks are very big right now. Still do some chrome, still do some black, still do some bronze tone. A lot of mixed metals, like your faucets might be black with a champagne gold. They might just be all champagne gold.
How long do you think the gold accents, like as far as faucets and fixtures, will hang in there?
For a long time.
You do think so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think brushed brass will be kind of like brushed nickel.
Or
I think it's going to be a standard. Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
Just because it's subtle, and there's a lot of us that just don't necessarily like the silver. I mean, I'm not a brushed nickel person. I'd rather have brushed or polished nickel or chrome than I would brushed nickel, but that's my personal preference. I have no idea. I do love the brushed champagne look. I think it's very subtle and very pretty. It kind of warms up a space, and since we're going to start getting more color, it will look good with those colors.
What do you think about trim color? Because I know that kind of varied from an off-white to a true white to a, you know, it's like, what do you think with this different color palette now and these lighter colors? What's kind of your most popular trim colors that you sell?
We do a lot of white right now, amazingly enough.
White?
Yeah, and I always call it kind of a hospital white because it's kind of got a little bit of a blue tint to it.
Okay.
Sell a lot of Chantilly lace, cloud whites. There's just a bunch of different whites that are selling. It's just kind of marketed toward whatever the wall color is.
Yeah.
And your white has to look really good with your white wall. So a lot of times we might do white dove trim, white dove walls. We might not change the color. That's what the ultimate simplicity, and it looks good that way. So if you're worried about getting the perfect white, maybe the perfect white is just the same as your trim color. That way you have a coordinating look with little effort. So
I like a little effort.
We had a viewer ask, is it safe to do bold colors in a home without fear of having to repaint everything cream or white if you want to sell it down the line?
Oh, that's a good
question for Bev, I think.
You know, it's in the eye of the beholder. And I can say that I am a color gal, and it is hard for me to go a really, really washed out look. So for me, I would be okay with it because, like, I have a navy dining room color. I have a wallpaper in my powder bath that's kind of an orange and a cream color. So it's like, I like color, but then I also have some lighter walls to kind of balance it out. So if I was the buyer of your home, I would probably be perfectly cool with it. But somebody that doesn't may not.
That brings up a really interesting point for me. Just in the past couple of months, I have been asked for yellow.
Really?
Which is kind of interesting. Yellow is a wall color too, not yellow accessories. Yellow is a wall color.
Okay.
So I tend to stay very subtle with my yellow. And it is the hardest color, other than blue, for people to pick for a wall color because it always goes up so much brighter. It's louder. It's more electric. And then you get it on the wall and you're like, oh, it's a little darker than I thought it should be. But it's really not that it's too dark. It's usually that it's just too in your face, too loud. So in doing that, we have to dull it down. And it's hard to dull yellow and blue and make people happy because the cleaner colors look prettier. But I always tell people, pick 3 yellows and then tell me which one you like the least, because that's where we need to start. Because the one you like the least in yellow or blues is usually the duller, uglier color. But on a wall, it just blossoms and it looks better up because it gets bluer or more yellow. Those are the two colors. If I were going to say, and you can disagree with me on this, but if I were going to say anything, blues and yellows do not sell homes interior wise. I don't know why.
Probably, I would say so, because I was just showing a home the other day, and the client said, ooh, this seller really likes blue a lot. And so that was kind of a turnoff to her. But I think here would be my advice. You live in your home, and you have to enjoy your home. So I would pick the rooms in your home that you spend a lot of time in, that you want your cheerful colors, and then dye down maybe some of the other colors, base colors throughout the home. So that way, if it does become problematic when you go to sell, it's only a couple rooms that you have to switch out, and it's not a whole house. I would never take a whole house in today's market with something that was a louder color. Keep it with some balance. I mean, would you say that's a good?
I absolutely agree.
Good answer,
and
maybe?
I think you're correct. I think sometimes people that love blue, I mean, that's just what they love, and they like a lot of blue because it is a beautiful color. It is the most accepted color in our society. It's considered safe, powerful. It's a nice color. And there's many different areas of blues that you can use. It's just that when you pick it for a home, it's different than picking it in your art or your clothing. It's subtlety. And if you wonder what you want to do or what you need to do, you can certainly come by Johnston Paint, and one of the girls here, the designers, will be more than happy to help you pick the value that would work the best for your home. So that being said, it's kind of the same with yellow. Very difficult color to pick. You want to keep it limited maybe on how much of it you do. There is a place for it. You just want to be careful maybe how much of it you use.
What about red? Because it was not that long ago, red was the color of the year, and I always kind of thought red ran its course. It's like, where does red fit into all of this? Because remember how it used to be red dining rooms, red powder baths, I mean, red kitchens. I mean, it was all over.
And there was a resurgence of red in drapery and fabrics about 4 or 5 years ago. In the trade magazines, you saw bolts of red, and I think it's because the white and the gray thing was so strong. Red is a good accent color for that, kind of like a bright yellow. Red is a mini splendored thing. It's not quite here yet. It's more of a subtle coral type red. I don't know if I'd call it Floridian. I don't really know.
Is it kind of like the reddish in your shirt?
Yeah, kind of
Sort
that
of?
coral red.
Kind of reddish orange?
We're in the secondary phase of colors, which would be your turquoises, your coral reds or oranges. Those are secondary colors on the color scale. That's kind of where we are. We're not in red, yellow, blue.
Yeah.
We're in the purples, the greens, the oranges. And so that kind of is the reason why you don't see a whole lot of blue in this. People that love blue are going to think that's green. People that love green are going to say, oh, that's blue. In reality, I think it's the color of your eyes, Bev, to be quite honest. It's really close to that.
Really?
Yeah, very complimentary of Bev.
Hey, it's close to my eyes. This is a good color.
It's a great color.
All right, very good.
So as far as color goes, it's not all over the place, but it's kind of anything goes because we've got a lot of white. And if you're not a white on white person, then come in and we'll put some color on those walls and liven them up. The transition is sticky right now because between gray and taupes, because we're warming our grays up quite a bit. Not to the taupe, but kind of sort of getting there. So prepare yourself. That intermediate gray taupey color is going to be big when we start putting color back on the walls, but it'll be after we have lots of wallpaper.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, thank you very, very much. And we would like to come back again, pick another date with you to kind of talk about backsplashes and flooring and things like that, because that is definitely kind of a trendy thing too. Some are more traditional, long term, and others are kind of here for a short time and then out the door pretty quickly. So if you have any questions, guys, in regard to wallpaper, coloring, do I do an accent wall? What would look good here for this or that? Vicki, actually, do you still do home visits?
Oh,
like
yes,
you used
we
to?
do interior and exterior consults.
Okay, because she's
time.
actually come to my home several times as far as coming to help pick out. I've even had you help pick out like front door colors. It's like, what would be the most poppin' color for new shutters and things of that nature? And paint is one of the most inexpensive ways to give your home a facelift and just give it some personality. And if you think about how much time you do spend in your home, and some of us more than others now with COVID and being at home offices and such, It's like this is a great time to come in and just kind of get a new rejuvenation of your home space, because I can assure you with a little bit of guidance, you'll love it. It'll be worth it.
Oh, I think absolutely. And I would suggest, if you're curious about color and what's going on right now, Johnston Paint's new quarterly magazine's out. And this is a great one. It showcases a lot of really fun colors. So I suggest you come down, free complimentary copies to anyone that would like to be down here. But perfect color for every space. There's a conversation with an artist in here, which is just really amazing. I loved her work. Well worth the stop in at Johnston Paint. You can ask for Vicki or any of the designers. We'd be more than happy to help you.
Thank you guys for joining in. We'll see you next week.